Oh, everybody, it's the weekend, and we're working for it. It's a weekend edition of Anytime with Ken and Alden that I'll explain in a second. This could be more normal going forward. Maybe later, maybe earlier.
Could be.
Bear with me.
This is the promise of the show. Finally, after a year and a half, we've decided it will be anytime.
See, this is the genius of a name you bestowed on us here, because when Josh and I and later Amanda, Josh and I had the afternoons kind of locked into a time. We afternoons in the mornings, it branding issue. Yep. We could do this at midnight Eastern. We could do this at 2 a.m. Pacific.
It's true. We could follow Fallon. We could follow. Finally, somebody will follow him. This is an interesting change. I'm interested to see. So this is boring behind the scenes stuff, but we technically could have done it yesterday. But I was still jet lagged and you were busy, and I was like, let's try it. Let's see what the middle of the Saturday crowd is like. I'm seeing some familiar faces, of course. We got David Mackay's here, Eli's here, Kingsport Cal, Producer Steve, Jared Blockman Stubbs, but also Crafted Jedi 66, who I know the name, but I don't think we've seen during our Friday as much.
Not as much, if we have, it's not as much Crafted Jedi.
Yeah, so this might be a little bit of proof to that idea.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back on the show. I'm excited to talk about things. Eli says, just promise if you do it earlier. Oh, yeah, there you go.
We brought up the same comment.
Dueling commenters. Ken and Alden in the morning. I would not be opposed to doing, Ken and Alden in a classic 6 to 10, but they would need to pay us 6 to 10 money. Who they is, I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I guess a little housekeeping up top. I won't go too far into it. As a lot of you know, I've been trying to look for an anchor job, meaning I have a lot of freelance work still and generate some money with my podcast, but have not had a full-time writing job like I did until January 10th at about 3 p.m. my time. I've got a couple interviews, things that are good, things that are in my industry, which is good because for a while I thought maybe I'd be out of my industry. So I find out very soon they will change some of the dynamics of my shows, including Force Center, Blathering, and Anytime. So I'm going to have to kind of recalibrate and find out where my shows are. I need these shows. I might have to also be looking for a place to live very soon. As of right now, I potentially could actually be homeless by June 1st, and that's not a joke. So I'm working through a lot, Alden, and I appreciate your patience. So that's why we said, let's try it on a Saturday and see what happens. Let's see what happens. And here we are. Yeah. So there you go. That's my life.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to be, cheerleader and everything. And you and I, obviously, shockingly, to many people, some of us hosts and podcasters and YouTubers have real friendships separate from this stuff. Some of them don't.
Some of us don't.
But we do. Some of us do. And, I was saying this to you yesterday. We're not going to get into your business, but I was just like, people have no idea the mental bandwidth, to stay on, to do the shows, with everything going on. So, look, Kingsport Cal says you can stay with them. He has room. The downside is that you have to leave the Best Coast.
The best look, every once in a while you do this happens at any point in your life. You do the Zillow search where what if I had a life in Altoona, and you just bring up Zillow prices. Sure. I've looked at Kingsport Cal's area. I've looked at Johnson City, Tennessee. I know some of the prices. Yeah, I could. I could also go live in the mountains in Los Angeles. I go with the Big Bear. The rent's far, far less. You will have to attend some rallies with some sheets on, but it's just built into the cost of living there, Alden.
It's like that in Django Unchained, where they have that whole bit about the guy's wife would cut all the holes into every sheet, and they should be more respectful because she worked hard on all those sheets. Look at this. Jared trying to pitch PA, of course, because that's Jared really should get money from the state for how much he pitches everybody living in PA.
Yeah,
Which,
he wants
mind
to go to
you,
the city
I
of
don't like. I don't
bridges.
like the way. Yeah, I don't like the way PA's been acting over the last few years. You know, just some too close for comfort. And then Jared will be like, "Oh, but you live in Florida." Yeah, but this is a
Too
lost cause.
close to call.
Like Florida, like I
Yeah,
don't. I
maybe.
don't have faith or hope in Florida. You know,
Yeah,
meeting
look.
people. Some will know that I was
Yeah,
overseas over the last week, and
I heard.
when you meet people, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm America. I'm from the States, which is already bad. That's already bad. And
Yeah.
then where in Florida? It's not that they like revolted in their reactions, but there's an immediate like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a pity, big pity.
Crafted Jedi says, "Don't come to Utah." That's probably true. Don't go to Idaho right now either. I have some friends in Boise that that's a choice right now. But beautiful, beautiful country, big sky country up in Montana too. Don't go there. Yeah. So I do want to, we're going anywhere today, and look, we got the government arresting judges, snatching 2-year-old kids and mothers and separating them, and
going after Coast Guard families.
Can we dig into that just for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
You were the one that sent me the story. That at first it was a rumor, then maybe soft confirmed, and I have to admit I haven't done the hard confirmed, but what you sent was a legit source of ICE going into a Coast Guard base and taking the wife of an active Coast Guard member. Is that the summary of the story?
Yeah, that active member is not present. Like they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to reduce it to be like they're on a boat, but like they are on a boat. They're doing something on a boat, and they are not physically present. They go after his wife and they take her. So, like you said, that's judges, military spouses, toddlers. There is now language rescinding Garland's protections on journalists, protecting sources. So it's either going to be their sources or them, and and it's not great, Bob. It's Bob, definitely
this town bad. Needs an enema. My thought to you, my text back to you, and I will admit this is not fully researched. I don't want to. This isn't me spouting out an idea. This is just me. I was I'll admit, mostly joking, which is on the internet is dangerous. But I was like, so ICE goes into a Coast Guard base, takes an active Coast Guard member's wife. Now I'm not saying Coast Guard is part of our military, but it's not. I would call it the world's leading fighting force, and they're doing other things. I have friends in my life who were the Coast Guard. They're doing other things, but is that where the Civil War starts? Where suddenly, Alden, you have a lot of people under oaths and serving constitutions and everything who are like, wait, what are you doing? And then maybe that's how some of the armies form. I'm just asking and spitballing, Alden. Is that how tanks roll up on the White House?
I was in a similar headspace the other day when I saw on Blue Sky people were posting the hotline, the GI hotline that they can call if they're being asked to do things that are unconstitutional and everything. And it's like, it's like what is I keep saying where's the line, and nobody so far nobody has said that we've crossed it. I mean, we've literally put into a prison camp an innocent person and then said nothing we can do, which is a lie. Of course, there is something you could do.
Said nah when every Supreme Court justice said nah, we're good. I'm gonna wear a blue suit to a funeral. And look, and let's be clear, there's probably, much like in life, much like my own street that I currently live on, or police forces or locker rooms anywhere, there's probably some people in the Coast Guard who are like, yeah, I called. So there's gonna be some divide even there. Like I said, I'm mostly joking, all that, but I was just like, that seems where the lines really start getting drawn with ICE.
Yeah, that and the whole the alien enemies bullshit, which is they don't need all they need is probable cause. They don't need a warrant. They can come into your home, and as many people online have said, this is not an original thought. If it's not going to be the Fourth Amendment, it's going to be the Second. And so, it's time for all these people to prove to me, to Alden Diaz, that they actually did mean it when they said they needed to protect themselves from tyranny, and that it wasn't just a matter of fantasizing about shooting brown people or their ex-wife.
Or
So
or
it's just
or
like,
Obama when he personally showed up to wrest the shotgun away from you.
yeah, exactly. When
I'm here
Barack
to take your guns.
Hussein Obama,
Yeah.
when Hussein Obama went and took all of those guns. Let's see if they actually mean this at all. Let's see if
Yeah.
anybody. Not saying anything should happen
No,
legally.
I don't want no, like what are we
Yeah.
like? There's just kind of like what are we doing here kind of vibe. It's just
But
like
then I have the thought after that, because everything is leads to a sequel thought, which is even worse, and that is okay. Maybe they want that because then that'll be the you gun down an officer,
yeah.
it's martial law, etc. But it's okay though
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer said we're not in a crisis yet, and Corey is still moving books, so it's fine.
Numbers.
Oh
are
no,
gone.
sorry, Hakeem's moving books.
Hakeem's
Corey's giving speeches, and then after he gives that speech, he's voting to kill more Palestinians. So
right.
we're good. And Corey, that is why you could not lock down Ahsoka Tano and wipe her up, amongst many other reasons. That is why
I won't comment.
You
on
got
that.
passed on.
I'm not one to comment on personal situations right now. So, yeah, okay, yeah. Cause and the thing is, they're rounding up the immigrants, but this judge gets arrested and essentially rounded up because aiding and abetting the immigrants, blocking the path, and that's where we're there, Mr. Schumer, we're there.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do about that?
According to AG Bondi, no one's above the law except the rapist that she works for, the rioters and seditionists that they pardoned, etc., etc. No one is above the law except the entire GOP apparatus. They're above the law.
Yeah,
that Luigi needs to die. because terrorism, quote unquote. Even though not a single New Yorker was even kind of rattled. And now here we are.
Mostly happy.
So,
yeah.
King Squall's right. Santos is going to jail, though.
Yes, I always think it's important to look for the little wins. And what was it, 87 months?
What a specific...
Yeah. Who knows when he gets out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, 7 years in prison. 87 months. Yeah. Whether he serves that, who cares? To me, 75 to 87. So they're already even in the headline. It's like, well, maybe a little less. We need those wins. We got
diva down, as they say. Diva down.
Diva down.
He's gonna be, but Santos is gonna be so popular in jail. I genuinely believe that. I think that people are gonna think he's hilarious. That's my genuine belief. So we'll see what happens.
To grift to that level, and I will include some of the people we absolutely hate, maybe even more than him, who wear blue suits to funerals. You have a certain charm. That's part of the pedigree. To grift to that level, you're winning people over. That's part of the problem, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, another thing that happened. This might have been earlier in the week, but they officially started selling the 2028 merchandise. Because that's
I saw that. Yep.
But don't take it seriously, guys. Nothing to worry
on
about.
The official store. Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. They can officially sell that on top of all the other business stuff they shouldn't be doing. But we should. Yeah. That's not an issue.
And I saw those hats, and this is the thought I had, because all along the way with Air Cheeto has been this, for me personally. Oh, no. That includes declaring that he was going to run in 2016, coming down the escalator, and this, that. And then me going, come on. And then even, all right, he's out, 2020. Oh, my God, January 6th happens. Oh, we're maybe sort of getting him on some things. There's just no way 2024 is possible. And here we are. So when I see those hats, I saw those hats with Golden, I did not scoff. I've learned the hard way that this is a reality.
He means it. Like, there's just no... And look, there's a long list of people that I would love to scream at, but when I see that hat, the number one person I want to scream at is Merrick Garland. Like, what is? I should have done it. I should have at least gotten a shot. If he was going to do nothing, you could have
run. You want to run for attorney general?
We could have been co-AGs. We at least could have got this guy picking up trash on the side of the road or something.
Something. So
Garland, for all of his like supposed importance and him being a name that we had heard that
yeah,
marred in controversy because of them stealing Obama's seat and all that stuff. He it was just like it'll be a nothing legacy, like and actually probably a horrible legacy because of what you enabled,
right.
in your doing nothing. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. Nothing doing it. And that adds to the stew right now. Yeah, Steve points out over on the Blathering, we're trying to get a campaign to vote for Steve for Pope because he's technically a Catholic. So he's open up any Catholic. Oh, you're too?
Can I vote for Steve then?
Yeah, maybe if do you get like something in the mail? A voter? A voter guide?
Cardinals.
Because technically, I learned this week, any Catholic, any registered declared Catholic is technically eligible. And in 1139, a normie became Pope.
Yeah.
That's the last time that it wasn't like part of the system.
Right.
Right. So Steve's declared. Alden, if you want to declare, anyone in our chat that wants to declare, maybe we get some write-ins going.
Well, I said on Blue Sky, everybody, and this is a great way to announce this. Right now, you don't have to super chat for it, although if you want to spend money on this, it would be pretty funny. We will be taking and reading all of your suggestions for Pope and Defense Secretary, 2 jobs that are either open or about to be.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Do you think? Let's put a little Vegas odds. We got the Vegas odds on the Pope. Mm-hmm. Do you think Hesketh? There was a Major League Baseball player named Joe Hesketh, so I sometimes confuse. Okay. Hesketh. Do you think he goes? Do you think that it's just now it's so far down that they have to do this, even though Trump's publicly said no?
I do think there's going to be a fall guy. I thought it was going to be the homie from the Signal Chat,
the Signal Chat guy.
Yeah, it starts with an M. I'm just like
Mike,
tired that Mike
dipshit Magoo, whatever.
Yeah. And I think I don't know. So there is eventually going to be, I think, some firings. Trump 1 had so many firings that I'm surprised.
So many, but but those are like the Rex Tillersons who were like they called the president a fucker in a meeting and he's gone. This seems like one of the ones that would have to be. He's so bad and it's so out there, and I think people on the inside are fragging him a bit and getting stuff out there that I wonder. It's not a hope, it's a win, but it's not necessarily like, yay, the tide is turning. But I just wonder what that will feel like if that happens. Yeah. Open rhetorical question, Alden. That's all. You got me on a Saturday. I'm thinking. Yeah,
I'm thinking too. I mean, look, we hope. Jared brings up a point that I do somewhat agree with, which is about the hats that, as a troll and bait to get us yelling about it, to distract us from the gulags, the disappearances of innocent. I don't disagree. I think that everything though that they do is in some way, regardless of its severity, if it's a 1 on the Trump scale or if it's a 10 on the Trump scale, they all function as both very real and distractions. They serve each other in that way. It's I'm gonna quote the greatest Star Wars to ever exist. It's Nemec's whole thing with the multiple atrocities and everything. Not that the hats are an atrocity, but they're a visual atrocity to me personally.
Saw Revenge of the Sith last night.
No, that's not as good as Andor. We don't need to talk about it. No, I'm kidding. How was your revenge? Were you at the one with Sam Jackson?
No, I can't complain. Billy Business and I went to see it over in Sherman Oaks at the same time. So, Billy lives farther away from it. It would have been not fair to have him. Like, could you buy the tickets and also drive all the way to Hollywood? Yeah, but awesome. But it was. I had the moment, and on Force Center, I'll dive in deep into a little bit more of the experience of seeing Revenge of the Sith 20 years on. Watching the Safe and Secure Society speech. And just even having Palpatine do the attempt on my life, and all I could see was that bloody picture of Trump with his ear, and going, oh man, it's all textbook. It's all textbook, isn't it?
It's so easy. Yeah, I was telling Ken off air, y'all, I just started listening to The Mask of Fear, loving it so far. I'm about 6 chapters in so far, and it's excellent. But it also opens with the dueling moments of Palpatine and then Padme's Liberty Dies, and it is just it's a tone setter. 894M. It's a tone setter. Sam Jackson showed up at the El Cap last night with Hayden. Hayden showed up first, and then he like talked off stage, and the crowd kind of started freaking out, and then Hayden brought him out, and they had their lightsabers.
That's cool. Like I said, on Force Center, I'll go into more deeply, but obviously not a packed crowd, but not surprised for where we were seeing it at. But a great crowd, and they clapped at points that you'd expect, clapped at some points where I was like, okay, and they really like Darth Vader. But the loudest applause, Alden, was when Vader extends his blade to kill Sor's Bandim, the child. Like, the theater erupted in applause. And people held up their lightsabers. And Billy and I were disturbed.
Can I say something?
We were disturbed.
Can I say something? And I don't want anyone to get offended that this is your favorite or anything like that. I genuinely don't want to come at anyone specifically. But broad strokes, people are fucking stupid. Like, people are really, really, really fucking stupid. And I'm not going to get into the Andor discourse about a very, I would say, equally dark act, but depicted in a very non-equal way to that. Yeah. I used the Source Bandine scene as a example of maybe how I think Star Wars previously more elegantly has handled atrocious things. Whatever. And Milo's
just kept a level of a little Teflon on it around it.
Yeah. And I think that, it's been 20 years and that is still a thing that people aren't properly processing. I don't expect everybody to have the AP English Joseph Scrimshaw level reading of Soars embodying the Jedi spirit in that moment. He does, but like, I don't expect everybody to have that.
And it's young him. It's young Anakin.
Yeah, I don't expect everyone to have that. But the whole like, isn't it badass? No, it's not. No, it's not. You guys are dumb. You're dumb.
There was a lot. Again, Vader's an icon. Vader's like for better or worse, right? And I collect Vader's like. We all live in that weird Star Wars world, but the applause were all for him killing Mace or helping kill Mace, falling to his knees, henceforth, which is a great line. So there was a lot of like applause for just Vader, but even Hayden comes out in the they have that pre-tape thing at the showings where he comes out. He says, "Hey, enjoy watching." The story of Anakin Skywalker's fall, whatever the exact line, but he's very clear in saying this is a fall to the dark side, and we as a society are like, kill the kid. Billy and I walked to our cars going, maybe we're lost.
It's ridiculous, and what's an underrated part of Sith though? I like it when George took his Yoda figure and his Emperor figure and he mashed them together. For no reason, he was just playing with the figures. I like that. That was cool. Look at here we go. Producer Steve, vote Producer Steve for Pope. 100% less evil and icky. We'll make Super Bowl Saturday too. Super Bowl Saturday, you could probably at least that. I don't know if it would get Pope because the Italians. I don't know if they care, but
yeah,
Super Bowl Saturday, you would get an electoral sweep. Here in the country.
Oh, yeah. No, look, I had a pastor growing up who said that the NFL being on Sunday, just all the games at the time, it was just Sunday and Mondays, and Super Bowl Sunday was part of Satan's plan to destroy the church and distract people from religion. Said that in a sermon at the pulpit.
Incredible.
So I started staying home and I just watched the games instead.
Look. I think you turned out all the better for it. Kingsport Cal says it's like the Punisher logo. Yeah, it's good that you bring this up, Cal, not just because you're right overall, but because specifically, we just had the Daredevil finale. It aired while we were in Japan. We watched it in the hotel room one night, and it credit to not just that team, but also Disney Plus. Maybe Disney Plus was so busy worrying about how they were gonna deal with sexual assault in Star Wars that they were not paying attention to the fact that Punisher, credit to him, they directly all season, but specifically in that finale, directly had Punisher deal with cops that think that they're him and that he's aspirational, to the point where he says to Daredevil on Disney Plus, "I ain't playing patty cake with these fanboys, Red. I'm chopping them up." And he destroys an entire precinct. It feels like that go after Daredevil's like his house, and he mows them down.
That's funny.
And it was
funny, and they like, oh wow, we'll see if
I could not. And then some cops capture him, and they're like, "Why don't you join us? Why don't you join us?" And he gets like a great speech about it and everything. And I'm sure a lot, but
Maybe
yeah,
I'll
and then
watch it.
now people on Elon Musk's X are like, "What's woke?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Good. Final pop culture thing for me. We can go wherever we want to go. I want to talk to you about Japan. You know me. I don't watch a lot of the movies anymore. I don't play the movie talk game that much and all that stuff. But I had not really actually seen the new Superman trailer. Okay, I had not seen it. I think I had it auto playing in the back with no sound one day.
Okay.
It was the first trailer last night before Revenge of the Sith. I have no skin in the DC game. I have no skin in the movie game. I have no skin in the Superman game. I liked the trailer, and the music swelled, and I kind of got emotional at a point, especially when the little doggy comes up, because I love doggies and my doggy, and I might not see my doggy for a while, and I was caught up. So what does that mean, Alden? What does that mean? Is that the right opinion?
For me, yeah. I literally have, and I'll find the screenshot. I'm not gonna hold my phone up to the camera. In my iPhone calendar, this July 11th, the Superman release date, and there's a note on the calendar that says "Survive until this day." That right now is the only thing that is keeping me afloat is Superman. And like, I'm not like Superman is like my number one thing. It's the combination.
Right.
It's like this character for this time with James Gunn, who's like my boy, like with
your boy,
the way that he's emphasized animals throughout his work, and now crypto. The "You will believe a man can fly" Christopher Reeve tagline, like the fact that James Gunn, the tagline for this one is "Look up." It kind of feels like a sequel to that spiritually. I like that it's hitting people like you that like
I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it.
New universe, fresh. You don't need anything else. Just it's new casting. I think David Cornsweet looks great. I think Rachel Brosnahan looks great. I think
she looks great.
She looks great. But
it means you understand Superman, Ken, says Michael McCarson. Okay.
And I think that the music and the
stop it, Cal. Sex keeps me alive. Stop it, Cal.
Look, Cal. Cal. Honestly, Cal, valid. It's for Ken Plume's birthday.
Oh, it's Plume's birthday.
Well, not today. But after Superman. Or before Superman.
Yeah, for Superman. Yeah. No, okay. No, there'll be screens on my birthday. I'll be there. All right. Plume's flying out to L.A. He just said it. That's it. Plume, come out to L.A. Jerry, the Cannon junkie, he loves Cannon. I get emotional when he swoops in and covers a little girl's head, and then the kid in the war zone put up the flag, call for Superman. I mean, come on. Yeah. No, there's a lot of that. And I do like slow, swelling music, right? Like, it worked in that regard. I thought it was a great trailer. I'm so late on the discussion. I should have done a reaction video 6 months ago. Like I should have done that. But I thought it was good. And then the Fantastic Four trailer, the Thunderbolts trailer, all looks good. Marvel.
Was it the Thunderbolts trailer that's like pressure pushing down?
No, because I would have loved if it was Queen and Bowie. No, it was Starship.
Oh, okay.
Built this city on rock and roll.
They've had some good needle drops in that.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four trailer, 60s Pedro. I'm there, of course. Like that's great. But man, that's Superman trailer. I'm glad you loved it because the crypto stuff. You and I are dog guys.
Man.
The
all in
crypto take me home, and I also, in a very again, like a very Force Center way. I think if people watch that trailer and you look at the way the adults treat him, just in 2 minutes, the way that the adults are already turning on Superman, but the kids believe, it's perfect. That's great.
It's good. No, I've not seen the Tron Ares trailer. They didn't play that there before that.
Do you care about Tron? You like Tron?
I mean, I not in a negative, like no, but not in a negative way, not in a snarky way. Just like I did see the original in theaters, and had a weird experience that I still believe actually happened. Probably didn't in Tron, I haven't seen any of the reboots.
But overall, would you characterize yourself as a Jeff Bridges guy?
Oh, definitely. From The Dude to Crazy Hearts, one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I'm a Bridges guy. I'm a Bridges family guy. Even Bo and the late great Lloyd. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. Tron Legacy, Laserball. It's got that one of the greatest soundtracks of all time, the Daft Punk. Trying to look if anybody else had Superman questions here. Yeah, the fact that we get Superman and Fantastic Four both in July and neither of them blinked. I thought for sure one of them was going to move to winter. And
maybe there's some thought. I'm so out of the game again. But maybe there's some thought of like, let's all ships and tides and rising. Like, let's get everyone out to the theater in July.
I think, not that this is the same phenomenon as Barbenheimer, because that was about flashing
once in a lifetime. Yeah. And that was memeified
for sure. But I do think there's something to what you're saying of like people are like, maybe we don't have to be afraid of each other. Maybe it's okay to just get like the audience, like, because I have concerns, about like Mando and Grogu being right by Avengers Doomsday. Of course I do, because I've been burned. And not that I had a stake in Solo. I didn't.
Right.
I saw Solo, I think 6 or 7 times and loved it every time. But I had to deal with morons telling me that it was a failure. And so
and the marketing, like I remember we talked on Force Center. One of our listeners was like a manager at a Target and was like, we cannot put out Solo stuff on the end caps. There are rules against it. We have to keep the Avenger stuff out there. It's like that hurt, Iger, Bob. That hurt.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so but I also think, it's the cheapest Star Wars film since the prequels and like little things like that. Like, I am okay with them just getting Star Wars fans. I don't need this to be.
I tell you what. And again, previewing some stuff I'm saying on Force Center this week, but sitting in there, the logo, now we got the 20th Century Fox logo, but the logo, the long time ago, the music that's just all around you. Nothing. This is not a shot against streaming. It's not a shot against Star Wars on TV, because most of us have really good TVs now, even if they're average. Sound bars that are like we all can have some fun at home. Got it? Giggity, cow. But man, it felt special. Just different. Seeing that opening sequence, one of my favorite sequences in Star Wars, some of my favorite music in Star Wars, war, boom, boom. Boom, boom, and just it all around you. I was like, I can't wait till Star Wars is back in theaters.
Yeah, it's special, and I will actually take a shot at streaming, and that shot is this. It has been multiple years now.
Choose violence.
It has now been multiple years of Star Wars on Disney Plus, and I've loved the vast majority of it in my soul. But I will never love the Disney Plus helmets opening, not because I don't like the way it is, but because I don't like the placement. I don't like that it's Lucasfilm logo. Like, it interrupts the flow.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I like it, but I'm with you on that.
Thing should be when I click it, and then Lucasfilm logo a long time ago, or Lucasfilm logo type. Like, I don't like that it shows up in the middle of like my Orthodox traditions.
This is why he'd be a great pope. Yeah, no, I actually understand what you're meaning. It doesn't trip me up as much, but at the little. Sometimes I'm like, wait, is it starting now, or we start what working? But look, you're talking to a kid who was part of the generation that thought the 20th Century Fox logo and fanfare was part of Star Wars. I didn't know it was in other movies. Like, and in fact, even on that 4-disc set I have that came out in like the 90s, they have the fanfare on it.
Yeah.
So it's part of the flow.
And honestly, I'm shocked that they didn't do this. And I don't know, maybe there's a reason. But when they purchased all the Fox assets, I was like, you own that song now.
Do it. Put it on there.
Slap it on Force Awakens and TLJ and Trust. Strange. So yeah, we are now in a loose Star Wars talk again. Give us your picks for popes and defense secretaries. These could be real people.
We want to know.
People. You can pitch yourself. You can pitch your spouse.
Right.
You can pitch whoever you want. I'm just curious. So far, Steve is pope by default because no one has stepped up to the challenge.
Look,
so
he's still my vote.
Cardinals.
Yeah, he's still my vote. But you guys could, is there a vice pope? Yeah, someone out there who plays for the Catholics. Is there a vice pope position, Alden? Is there a number 2? Who's in charge right now?
Well,
other than God.
According to the motion picture Conclave, which is the only insight many of us have into the inner workings. There are a lot of secondary jobs. Like there's the dean of the College of Cardinals that will be running this whole process. Okay. Then there's the transitionary guy, the intermediate pope, who's a guy named Kevin from Ireland, and he's the guy right now, Cardinal Kevin. And so he's in there. There's also like some like I don't know if they're like attachés or assistants or like what their whole thing is, but there are some other jobs of esteem that are in there. That's right.
Okay.
Big man.
And I'm fascinated with it. You know, the papacy is an interesting thing. Jerry says he'd be great at it, so he'd rock it. Yeah, okay.
That's true. Yeah, this is actually canon. A lot of people don't know this. This is not a joke. Jerry, the Canon Junkie, is actually Kevin Gerald, and we call him Jerry.
Really?
I don't know if I swear that's not a joke. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know
Kevin Gerald.
So you just outed him? Where's my?
He outed himself. Said my name is also Kevin. Actually.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Who would be the funniest sec def? Maybe Hulk Hogan.
Brother, we're gonna send the pythons into the Middle East. I think that would be that'd be great. I'm all for it.
Of the bootlickers that have already, which like, well, actually, that's a great thing. I'm glad I said that for the first time in maybe 20 years. I'm glad that Hulk Hogan has come up because I got a bone to pick with the entire organization.
Okay.
So WrestleMania was while I was in Japan, so I didn't watch until I got back. Yeah. It was whatever. It was a meh WrestleMania.
It's some okay things and some bad things.
There was some. I think the women's triple threat match banged.
Very very WrestleMania 10.
Yeah,
some classics, but some
Cena's final Mania and the most important arc happening in the business right now being decided by a celebrity guest. Hilarious, like great, awesome. Like,
not a good one.
You guys really nailed it. Good job, guys. Yeah. Whatever. This whole company, man, they're making it real hard for me. And I've said that before. They were already making it hard for me. Like their Logan Paul-ness and like all that.
You're talking about the MAGA that runs through it?
Yeah, which like was always there. Like
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know
for sure. Like I want to be like Ken obviously has been a fan a long time, worked in the business. Ken knows. I know. Been a fan for 20 years now. 20 years watching wrestling and really loving it and everything. It has never been not there. And even in the alternative of AEW, where I would characterize it as way more progressive, there's still a few notable characters. Like Y2J6, you know, like there are some.
His wife was there, right?
His wife was physically there. So there's a lot. But WWE, it's the glee with which they can now be masked off. It's the fact that they've clearly been salivating, waiting for it. Roman Reigns coming out as a dumb bootlicker in GQ. Triple H, that was an open secret, but you know it's out there now. Linda's obvious, but like. Top to bottom, the we don't see color, the deportation jokes now from Heyman, who's also a rabid racist Zionist. There's just like insane shit. And then they bring in Hinchcliffe in an official capacity. The roast audio, which was so bad that they have a team deleting it from the internet. And like you really, it's hard to find now, but you could find the bullet points of all the jokes they made. Like, I'm surprised there weren't like, knowing this business, I'm surprised there weren't hands thrown in the locker room for like people's wives were mentioned, people's like you know, real troubles. Like it went because you've been to roasts, like it's not your first go around, but like there's a social contract, right? Of like we're going after this person, and then the dais will take the strays and we rotate.
Yeah, and there's
wrestlers that
agreement.
Clearly don't know comedy, just wanting to say horrible things. It was bad. Freddie Prinze Jr. Heyman made a joke about Freddie Prinze Sr.'s death. That's all I'll say. That was so out of pocket that I would support Freddie Prinze Jr. beating his ass. Like was
Prinze Jr. there?
No. He made it because Freddie Prinze Jr. wants to start a wrestling promotion. Heyman took a shot, and I'm not going to repeat exact words, but he said, "We need one of those the way that Freddie Prinze Sr. needed, you know, joke about the way that he like." And he's been Freddie. You know, you've met Freddie, nice guy, but like
Freddie is stoned and great.
He should roll up his sleeves and beat Paul Heyman's ass for that joke.
He's a tall, strapping lad too.
Yeah, he is very tall.
Yeah, man, I have a lot of thought on roasts that are just not. The world's on fire. I don't need to go into them too much, but like it is not. Yeah, there's a misunderstanding of what they are, and again, there's an agreement. That if you're there, that's why the Hinchcliffe quote roast back at the political rally that I was up in arms about was like there was no agreement with the people of Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? That you're now just attacking. You're being a dick, and that's what sounds like a lot that's at play here.
It was
roast,
the whole,
roast. This idea that roasts are where you say this vile stuff and woo, and here's a secret about you. Like that's go back and watch the classics, the Martin roasts and the Shriners and all the stuff. It's bad, but it's not. It's different. It's an attitude. It's a spirit that's different.
For sure. So it was all that. Like I've talked to Jared about it. I've talked to our friend Michael McCoy who loves wrestling as well, and I was just like, this, it's the death by 1,000 paper cuts right now with this company that, and they've decided to do them all at once. This was like 2 weeks in PR hell for that company. But they don't see it as PR hell because they're protected now. They can do this. They can have, abuser Dana White because that's their business partner.
In the wrestling, and it's part of almost the tradition of the wrestling industry. It's just it attracts the wonderful people. It attracts some of the worst. And I know you can say that across any board, comedy too, but it's never left its carny roots. And that's not even saying bad things about all carnies. It's just that traveling road show that no one looks at don't look under the rug.
You read Bret Hart's book, I believe. We've talked about this before.
I don't know if I read it. It was long.
Yeah, it was.
I listened to a song. Yeah. I listened to a song on the WrestleMania CD.
Oh, good. Yeah, same thing. And his book is called "My Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling," and the phrase "the cartoon world of wrestling" has always stuck with me because it's very, I think, apt about the psychology. Where like these are people that have families and beliefs and lives, and they are real, but they also because. For some of them, 300 plus days is spent in a half truth reality that it's like they'll put someone like Logan Paul out there who like we really hate, but they can't hear the difference between real hate and heat, and so it's like they think they've won either way. They're like, he draws heat, brother, and it's like, no, we hate him. Like he's
how you would know this more than me. What is the level of go away heat for a lot of these guys, including The Rock?
Rock will always pop the casuals. He's very protected, I think, on American TV. But when Logan when they did the European tour, and those fans get really creative with their chants and they get really specific. He was definitely rattled, and it became clear that they're like, we're not doing this for the show. We don't want you in the ring. It's definitely getting a little more pointed. Dana and Hinchcliffe got heavy boos at Mania. We know what happened to Hogan on Raw that one time. Like stuff like that is happening more. But Good. It's just, again, with someone who thinks that, with Triple H in charge, who thinks that Trump is so charismatic and smart,
right?
It's like, he's going to see that and be like, this is the business. We've always had heels. And it's like, no.
Yeah, that's how Vince at his height got away with for a while. Mid 2000s, I remember some of the storylines started getting rejected by society. But that was always the thing, right? And I'm talking beyond just the stereotypes, everything. There's some, I don't want to say I understand that, but even some of the regional territorial days, Piper coming to LA and, quite frankly, just going after Mexico. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I defend it, but it's just like that's a different approach in terms of just old school heat and Piper getting chased out of arenas literally by fans. That's a little different than some of the stuff Vinnie Mac did later on, which is like, what's going on in the world? Oh, let's do this. Let's make those brown people the enemy. Like
when I became a fan, and I'm this is the 2000s, so it's like it's not like we can be like it was old. When I became a fan, they had then champion JBL at the border, quote unquote, because I highly doubt they actually shot it there, but at the border throwing quote unquote illegals back over, physically throwing.
Right.
And that was like a comedy segment. So it's like this is a business where it's like if you're dating someone and you want to introduce them to wrestling, you can't.
Maybe
You can't. You can't. You can only you basically at this point, here's my advice to everybody. If you're with someone and you're like really passionate about wrestling and you want to show them wrestling, you could strictly only show them work rate guys. You can't show them stories.
Here's Daniel Bryan. He's a vegan. Or Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. Yeah.
Yes. You can only be like, this is a 5-star classic from the Tokyo Dome. Like, that's it.
Only show matches where like Finn Balor or Punk are wearing trans rights, shirts or colors. Everything else is, you don't need to see anything else.
Yeah. They'll be like, wow, like, so what about the 80s?
Can we watch WrestleMania 7? No.
They'll be like, what's an 80s wrestling thing you can watch? The Princess Bride?
Yeah.
That'll be my out. Yeah. It's insane.
Anyways.
So I just wanted to do that brief wrestling rant to someone that would understand the difficult time that I'm having enjoying John Cena's final year, because
I feel you.
I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with WWE in the way that heel Cena feels like he's in an abusive relationship with me. So.
Yeah, there you go. Blazerbolt says, show them Lincoln wrestling, or show them Lincoln wrestling his buddy in the bedroom. That's right. History. Okay.
Gay Lincoln is canon.
It's canon. It's canon, man. It's canon. How was the trip to Japan, man? I bummed I couldn't go there. I knew a long time ago I couldn't go, and then it became even more. Life made sure I didn't go for good reasons. So I can deal with some things here, but it looks so wonderful, warm. It is such a country rich in history and all these wonderful things. I can say like I'm a travel sales pitch in an Andor episode for Gorman. But how was it, man? How was it?
I should preface this by saying that I wasn't there as long as I wanted to be. It's just the financial reality, the life reality, etc. Sure. The fact that I'm popping over to LA next week and things, like it was just trying to balance things. So I didn't get to see the other major cities. I was in Tokyo and the wards of Tokyo, which are Chiba, where the convention was, Shinjuku, Shibuya, like all these areas. Some of the guys, they saw Osaka, they saw Kyoto, and like those sound amazing, look amazing. I hope to go back. But for my experience, it was just like, it was unreal. Like I usually get like post-trip depression just for any trip, but I have massive post-trip depression. My connecting flight was in DC. And so when I got back to DC and I went
Glad you got out safe.
Don't think I wasn't thinking it, man. I was like, I really don't want to be here. I was like, I really don't want to be here.
Planes are catching fire. Like it's
yeah. And I the second that the charging station didn't work, the second that the bathroom was dirty and everything, I was just like, I hate this place. I was like, I hate this place so much because I don't want to be a stereotypical like white boy first time in Japan amazed at the smallest things, but I am.
Right.
Because it's like just the overwhelming takeaway, the theme that all of us were focused on was this is what it feels like and looks like and operates like when everybody's thinking about each other. There's a common good here. And some of it is just cultural expectation. Molly, you're so right. Molly.
I mean, I've been telling you all this for years. You just got to go to the homeland. You got to go to the 7-Eleven homeland. That's the only difference.
It's just the best.
Where do you think I got this apple juice this morning?
It's the best. Molly being, maybe the only white woman within any like 500 feet radius is how it should be.
That's some currency. That's some currency.
Yeah. So it was just like every little thing, and I was sending it to my sister and my family. Like here's a great example. A train station men's bathroom stall has a built-in to the wall seat for your baby while you are shitting, doing your business or whatever.
Your baby can watch.
Perfectly clean. Your baby could just chill, do its baby thing. Like America doesn't care about a dad bringing in but when has America ever given a fuck about what a dad is doing?
And what's funny, you kid don't really remember when the calls for changing tables in men's restrooms started to happen. I forget the timeline, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. It was a conversation. Like, do we really need this? But mothers are supposed to raise the kids. Like that was a thing, man.
Over there, and look, I'm not going to also be naive. Like, it's like, of course, there are stuff over there. Things over there. Like, there's a train line that I think is just for women because they had to address, some things. And there are signs that's like, please don't take upskirt photos and things like that. But you know what? At least they're having a conversation. Like, at least they will say, don't do that. In America, America dads will fucking high five their sons for that bullshit. So it's like, I still think it's a better standard. Like, it's the way that they are taking care of their spaces that we know that they teach their children this. Like, they clean their classrooms together because it's their space and they should have pride and love for it. And that carries all the way up to the old guys. It carries to the really well made and well placed smoking zones that look like bus stops, like that are operated, that have their own little occupancy number. The way that everybody acts in the restaurants, the way that everybody acts with the formalities and thanking each other. And like I was in downtown Disney with Nikki Kumar. We went and got that is a problem, Ellie. You're right about that.
Yeah, I'm out. Severe lack of hotel bars. I ain't going.
It's a big thing. That we did have some trouble locking down a zone to hold court. But we got to do karaoke. So that was
I saw that. Yeah, okay.
But Nikki and I went to Starbucks because I wanted to try the Starbucks drink that only they have called Ichigo, which is like the strawberry frappe and everything. And I was, gonna be
I'm back in.
Yeah, I was so hyped for that. It was excellent. And we go to throw away our cups, and this woman who worked there made a beeline to us and took them and went and threw them away. And it's like, I don't need her to do that, but it's just the fact that she thought to do that.
Sure.
And like, yeah, it's her job. Okay. But like, every single thing about the place is like that. The quiet on public transpo, like the fact that they're not because this is just a rant in general. Grabbing a prop for this. Let me tell you something right now. If you are watching Anytime with Ken and Alden right now, and you talk on the phone in public like this, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Because what is the difference logically between this and this?
It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah. Why is this so much worse? Why do you need this so we can all hear the other person? What happened to this? Why is this bad? Anyway, so that would never happen over there. There's signs on the trains of like, don't take phone calls, guys. Like, just be courteous.
And people pay attention to that.
People read.
Even if we did that here, and maybe there's like my mailbox store has a please don't use your cell phone thing. I've never seen it followed. Yeah.
Okay. Ken Plume's right about this. Y'all probably knew your Americans that wouldn't throw them out yourselves. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. It's just like every single thing about it just had this air of, this is why we're able to do this. It's because we invest in people. Like, I got up really early on the first day. I was like, let me go get a cup of coffee. We went to like 2 or 3 places that we were like, oh, they're closed. It's 8 a.m. And then around 10, 11, we started to see people show up with their keys and open up their cafes and everything. And I'm like, oh, 10, 11 to open your business? Isn't that nice? Instead of throwing some underpaid teenager at Dunkin' at 6 a.m. to get fucking yelled at. Like, every single thing about the way they operate is
okay. I like
it. I'm sure somebody is an expert. I know we have some friends here that have been a couple friends that live there. I forget who it is. The JMB that lives there.
JMB, yeah.
JMB lives there. So like
Kingsport Cal, he does. Kingsport Cal lives there.
Kingsport Cal. We should just change where Kingsport Cal lives every time we address him. Kingsport Cal lives in.
He lives in Bismarck, Germany. Yeah.
JMB. So it's like, I'm sure JMB could say like, what the downfalls are.
I've seen, not recently, but I've seen here's some of the darker sides or things or rules or this. Yeah, I got it. I get it. Yeah. It's every spot, but like.
But man, it's just they're putting us to shame. They're putting us to shame.
Yeah, I mean, but I do want to read more on it, of the shared communal experience that maybe, again, yes, like you said, I'm doing these caveats of maybe someone can expose a dark side to it or this, but it's clearly built. It's centuries of probably we're in this together kind of run a society kind of vibe versus we've just
It's
We've
collectivism.
just been rebel rousers and problem starters from the beginning. So we
It's
are the big, loud
individualism versus
Americans. Yeah.
collectivism.
Yeah.
And over there, like, and there's some stuff that like does take a little bit of an adjustment. Like, a great, like, I think subtler example that I didn't expect is that because of their views on pity and shame and sort of like self-reliance, they don't get up to like if you're on the train and an elderly lady comes on, your instinct is I should give her my seat. They don't do that. And it's like, whether that's good or bad is not for me to decide because that's how their society is run. But like, we gave up our seats for a mom and her like toddler daughter, and she was not weird about it, but there she did give us kind of a look like, really? Like, okay.
And then
And
you did
so,
this. You went this. America.
yeah. And then I put a tariff on that seat. It's very interesting. But yeah, Molly's right that there is the wanting to discourage the tourism that's going on.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
things like that. There's a lot of controversy, I understand, about the tax-free situation that they have going on with the shopping. And there are things.
Yeah.
But man,
There's always
like,
going to be things, right?
even
There's things.
separate from the Star Wars of it all, I just liked being there. I felt calmer. I felt more focused. I felt less anxious. It was just interesting. It was just very interesting and humbling and exciting, and I miss it. And I wish that, obviously, I wish you could have been there, but I wish that everybody could have the opportunity to pop over. I know it's a luxury.
How would I have I done with no hotel bars? I'd like getting up early for my coffee. I don't yell at anyone, but I like to establish my territories and my routines around hotels.
Yeah.
You think I would have adapted?
I think he would have adapted, and multiple times I said Ken would have loved this. And normally when you're like, oh, my friend would have loved this, it's for something like exciting or silly or sexy or whatever. I was saying that about like public safety, about like organizational things, about infrastructure. Like I think you genuinely would be like, wow, look at this. Like, I don't want to tell tales outside of school, but because it ended up on Instagram, I feel okay at least mentioning it. A certain Bombad host had an encounter with the law, to the surprise of no one.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, well,
what happened?
It was nothing serious. I mean, it was serious, but like, basically,
is he still there?
He's locked up.
Do we have to send an ambassador?
Basically, there was a vehicle to motorcycle in a parking lot. He was adjusting his parking and he knocked over someone's bike. It cost him. He
rented a car? He had a car?
He rented a car. They allowed him to have a car, which is,
well, that's the country's mistake. First,
that's on them. As far as I'm concerned, I would be like,
so he bumps into
Your Honor, look at him. Like,
a TC. He has a TC, as they say, traffic collision, a parked one.
So he was parking because he was driving the other side, and so he was like not used to it. And he's like, oh, I should adjust. And no, I'm not physically with him during this time. All we get is a text that says, guys, I fucked up, which is pretty awesome to get out of nowhere. So I'll text you the photos right now while I'm saying it. So they had an interaction with the law over there. I say this to say, by the way, I think he said it cost him like $28 American to settle this. Okay. How hilarious is that?
Wow.
And
to settle it? Oh my god!
To deal with the whole situation, and like
this is Homer and Bart Simpson in Australia level right here.
And the rental car people were like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like, it was very, very casual for what it was. Which member of KISS was he dressed? Well, of course, Paul. Of course. Well, so while this is going on, I thought about you again because I was like, Ken has interacted with law enforcement, and the way that these guys handled it, they didn't accost him. They didn't throw him on the ground. They didn't do it. They were just like, hey, what's going on? Oh, you're not from here. All right, let's see your passports. Where are you guys staying? Like, cool. You guys got to talk this out. Like, it was just, they are facilitating, which is the case in many nations. You go to, and like,
then the owner of the bike comes out.
Well, the owner of the bike was actually right there. She was like standing near. She had probably just gotten there. So she turns around and she's like, "Ah, my bike."
And sees this Louisianan. Oh shit! God damn it.
And apparently her father showed up. It is a young 20-something on her dad's bike. So her father shows up, and her father, older Japanese guy smoking cigs, is like, "Which one of you did this?" And it's fantastic. He can tell you the whole story in more detail.
The look on his face. The look on Scotty's face. He's like, I'm here for life.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
This is like that Claire Danes, Kate Beckinsale movie. I'm here for life. Oh, there's Trey. Was Trey mediating? Was Trey?
Trey was like, from Trey's point of view, he's like, I went to take a stroll down by the beach, and I get you have to come back right now. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
I can't believe I didn't see that. It's been a week for me. Week and a half. I have not been on social media as much.
I'm giving you the I wasn't even there version. When you hear it from him, it's awesome. You're gonna love it.
You can have
all that to say, you would have appreciated the way they just
the efficiency
and yeah, the lack of hotel bars. Like it was a struggle because we had a tip on maybe where one could be Thursday, and then turns out some bars are closed Thursday, some are closed Sunday. Weird. So we're like, all right. Then we found a British pub run by Japanese folk that we held down for one night, and that was when they played Phantom Menace. Which
that was great. Man, was that called Matty Gunnarson's or something like that?
Yeah, the bar? Matty Sama's bar. So it was elderly people in the back of the bar watching baseball, and they were reacting to baseball very passionately. They love baseball. They've got Ohtani all over the city. Like they're very into it. So they were like, it was already a cool energy there. And then at some point I looked at the TV because I thought I heard like some Star Wars music, and sure as shit, Phantom Menace. And I'm like, oh wow, they put on Phantom Menace. Then I realized who it was. There was one of the bartenders who had like Leia buns, and she said, "May the Fourth be with you," and everything. But yeah, we started reacting.
Alden proposed.
Look, the entire trip, I was like, when am I going to meet the future ex-wife? And it did not happen. But
looking too hard.
We tried. I saw people there that were some of the most beautiful human beings I've ever seen in my life. And not just like that physically pretty. I just mean like the entire package, the whole aura, the energy, the style, the way they carry themselves. It was just like,
there you go. Head back.
Insane. Japan, 10 out of 10. I mean, Star Wars Celebration, you covered this on Force Center. I don't need to go down the Star Wars Celebration with you, but even like that was also run better. The food hall system was great. It had one day where it got fucked up the first day. I'll give them that. But like, it was just the convention center was really good, way better than Excel. Big. Very big. I finally chose good shoes, which I've fucked up on celebrations past with that.
Insoles, man.
Yeah. I had that was an 8mm or whatever. But it was definitely a trip. Beautiful. I'm gonna miss it. And but I know that you're so excited to have us in LA for the next one. So that's good. I know your Ben is over the moon about LA.
I am. It's just not. It's just. I don't know. Here's where I've come down on. I don't think first of all, the LA Convention Center is nice. LA Live and the Crypto.com Arena, that whole area is live and vibrant and fun. That's not the problem. I just don't think the area is a good convention town, and I will admit to being slightly spoiled. I've talked to you about this off air, even of just like. I stopped going to see Dodger games the moment I started getting into the VIP seats with an old friend through a work client situation, where you're waiting behind Christina Aguilera and Magic Johnson and for Dodger dogs. Jeff Garland's in the corner. The late great Frank Robinson, Hall of Famers, eating ice cream in front of you. It's just rarefied air. And the moment you're like.
That was such a random group of celebrities. But
that's true. It was Jeff Garland.
It had to be real. Christina Aguilera, Magic Johnson.
It was Magic Johnson kind of co-owns the Dodgers. Christina Aguilera was there. Tom Cruise has been there. I like him now because he ran as a Republican. But I was behind Steve Garvey in line to get Dodger dogs, one of the greatest Dodgers of all time, and we're waiting for Dodger dogs. And then to go back to coach. to go. Hey, you want to go to the Dodger game? We got some seats in the outfield. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when it comes to conventions, I've only, other than the last couple of years, I have only attended conventions in a work capacity where you have a hotel 5 feet from the convention center or walkable. You get access. You are not waiting for your some intern comes up with your badges and you walk right into things. And when you don't, it kind of affects your work, number one. And two, you kind of get a little of that, your Billy Zane and Titanic vibe. And I totally admit that. the LA Convention Center is going to be tougher. There's not a lot of hotels around. Despite even some good friends of mine will argue with me on this, it's not a safe area. And yes, you could argue any big city has that. It's not a safe area, and I just feel sorry. And then LA has that confusing thing where I've already seen some folks like, "Oh, I'm going to stay here." That is 2 hours away. That you are not going to have the convention experience. But what I've learned, Alden, what I'm trying to shut up about it is, there's also people who are like, "Oh yeah, no, in Chicago, I stayed in Iowa and drove into the convention center." I have experienced it differently, and I just have to, there was one trip Mark Ellis treated us to first class to Washington D.C. for a comedy show. I've hated economy ever since. It's just money and power. That's
this is like
it corrupts
the small tastes of privilege. This was my first Star Wars celebration where I've had good fortune before. Back when they had a media badge, I would get the media badge, and now they've changed that. And this was the first time that I had the access that you're talking about, where I didn't do a line this weekend, or this past weekend. That's an extremely privileged thing to say, and I acknowledge that. I got to sit there and watch Molly carry the entire fandom on her laptop. And
she did.
And she did.
By the way, I incorrectly want to publicly. Can I jump in on this for a second?
Please.
I want to publicly apologize to the wonderful Molly Damon because I've said on Force Center that I was following Alex's posts on Star Wars Explained to get updates. I should have known that lazy fucker did nothing and Molly did everything. And
Alex was busy being the Taylor Swift of our fandom.
Yeah.
People. Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, can I take a picture with you? Oh my God. Yeah.
I apologize, Molly.
I will say there was a hilarious Alex Damon moment that I was able to witness where I was sitting next to him before the Visions panel, and a young lady walked up to him and said, "Oh my God, my dad loves your channel," and that was very funny. That was very funny. I was like, her dad. I was like, "Damn, that hits you like a truck, doesn't it?"
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's okay. I did also. Okay, Molly says he was doing the Blue Sky. I was mostly on Blue Sky. She was doing everything else, but she was doing everything else. That's amazing. Laserbolt says in Chicago, my hotel was close enough celebration to ride a TIE fighter shaped rickshaw. Yeah, that's great. That's stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, I cannot wait for you all to get here. They're trying to make infrastructure improvements because of the Olympics and the World Cup and this event now. LA Comic Con.
Assuming that the Olympics will still happen in the States.
Yeah, I think maybe Plume, if he's in chat, either LA Comic Con or WonderCon's the weekend before Star Wars Celebration.
No way.
So it's hopping. I think that the city's trying to say, "Look at us," but there's just
this is also and this is an angle you and I've talked about in other places where spiritually, morally, emotionally, it had to be California or London for me. I know there were other people that don't really care as much about this, but I just think that this would, I loved my experience at this past celebration, but it is a little bit weird to be that far away and therefore not have Mark Hamill, not have Warwick, not have a lot of people
right.
that are staples of the franchise and of Star Wars Celebration. So for this, it's we just had that wonderful TCM event that Jennifer Lando was on the red carpet for hosting. And George is there because it's there in California, because it's Hollywood. Yeah. For the 50th anniversary, you want to make it as easy as possible for our elder statesmen to be there. And for them to be a part of it, and for Grauman's maybe to be a part of it if they want to do that, or whatever it is.
Grauman's is too far. That's my thing. It's too
it'll probably
far.
Be a different day. Yeah,
it's too far.
I really feel like it's going to be the 4 days, and then plus the city being kind of alive. For the other days.
It's too far, man. A lot of people are saying, and I'm not being an asshole to the people say, but oh, you must be so happy it's in your backyard. I still have to get a hotel. I cannot drive back and forth every day to cover a convention. It's just, and some people do. Some people do. I know two people who are cast members on a Star Wars podcast who, for Anaheim 2022, they drove down every day. The guy made the girl drive, by the way, but in an incorrect way. But that's 2 hours every day back and forth for a convention. Like, that's just not the way to do it. So anyways, I'm working all in on trying to stop complaining about it. But Molly brings up this point. Who do I have to bribe to get a room at that Marriott? The Marriott, and then there's one next to it that I've stayed at before. Those are the only two hotels around there that are kind of worth it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of what people think is the vibe of like Anaheim, you're not going to have that here. It's going to be different.
I will pledge
Mm-hmm.
that no matter what, though, you will get Ken and Alden holding court somewhere. It will happen.
Yeah, Burbank at Wood Ranch. Y'all can come.
That was Wood Ranch. Because that was the thing that was missing from this.
So 898-4M is the resource on the transportation. Take the red line, 20 minutes. The problem is, I'm used to going, hey, cool, we covered that panel. Let's go back to the room. I got to change. I got to go to the bathroom. I only do home games, and we also got to record a podcast. And that's so you don't take the red line back and forth to your spot. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm grumpy about. That's how you work conventions.
Yeah. Oh, Smokehouse. That's true, Molly. Smokehouse reunion. The only time I've been was with you guys, and I still want to try the rest of the menu and get more bread.
Let's do it.
Ken Plume confirmed for Disneyland 2027. Good shit. Very exciting.
Yeah, 2 hours away. 2 hours away.
Why is California like this? That's my question.
It's the cars. It's the cars where we got hoodwinked with the Car Society, and there are, and I said this in the Force Center Discord. It is a legitimate possible option. You could stay at the hotels at Universal Studios, walk down to the Cahuenga station, take the line into the 7th and Metro station, then you switch that, and it's like from there a 3-minute ride to really right in front of LA Live. That might take you 30, 40 minutes, but it's easy. And then you get home at night. You're not going to connect with anyone, and you got to worry about getting home. You could just Uber at that point, but that's possible. That's what Brady's talking about. Brady's got the better mindset. He knows how to do this. 20 minutes on the subway is nothing. It's easy. And LA has an underrated and hopefully improving subway system.
Okay.
And it's clean at times.
All right.
The bus, do not take a bus though. I don't want you to take a bus, Alden.
I will not do that. I will not be doing that. No, I will not take a bus. I'm very anti-bus whenever possible. I love the trains though. Love the subways, love the trains.
Just I know Brady takes a bus. I'm not being mean to Brady. It just bus people, man. I
love how we're like, and this is truly like nerd shit. This is a safe place, but it's just like hilarious that we're all spending so much time talking about something that is 2 whole ass years away. I mean, it's good to plan, but it's just like
it'll be fast.
Yeah, like I'm getting a text from Charlie Ashby right now. It says, "Have you watched Doctor Who yet?" No, Charlie, I'm on air.
Have you watched Doctor Who yet? The Doctor went into the booth and he came out there and he did his thing then, and the Gorgons showed up. Well, there was Gorgons in the show. Is that real?
Yep. You just summed up 60 years of Doctor Who storytelling. A show I love, but yeah. Molly says, I'm going to sleep under the Star Wars live stage. Shh, don't tell anyone. Molly, can you also like do some hosting?
I wish Carboni did. I wish Carboni got a nap.
I gotta hand it to him, man. He jet lag and whatever he was going through, he was on. He was on. Yeah, they should pay Molly the big bucks to do some hosting. They should get some people that are media literate to do some of the panels as well. That'd be great. Scotty's panel crushed.
I watched it live in my Betty Buy. I was in my Betty Buy with headphones on, watching the whole thing.
Yep. And if you buy your copy now of the Metachlorians book, that's Scotty.
I have it in my. I have mine in the room. Yeah.
Forward by Alden Diaz, which was very honored to do. Very fun.
There you go. Applaud. And I'm glad Scotty got home to America.
I am too. I don't think he is. I think he would have been okay staying.
It would have been one of those international incidents where he's trapped over there. They got to send ambassadors. Free Scotty signs. It would have been a thing.
Oh, Eli, I'm already fantasy booking this celebration. I'm very, very look, because the problem, and I was saying this to you, Ken, off air, like
Yeah.
having experience now, the 50th anniversary of SNL,
Yeah.
that's the bar now for
50th.
for 50th for anniversaries. Like I'm talking Empire Dreams 2. I'm talking Light of Magic 3. Natalie Portman involved. However, but like she needs to be involved. Whether that's just signing, whether that's a panel,
Sure.
sending in a video, I don't care what it is. But we have now. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not a like they've been avoiding Padme. Like I don't think that. But like it is starting to get egregious. Like,
I don't.
Like,
no. I Padme is one of my favorite characters.
yeah,
you know some of the stuff I know about
for sure.
avoiding
There's
Natalie,
history.
I think. But
history.
but that's I think long in the past. So
yeah, it's got to be just like they were in Japan. I'll give them the grace of like having not done Revenge or Force Awakens, like whatever. That's fine. And look, they're not hurting. The Revenge re-release, I think, has them already weekend grosses.
Like big weekend for it. Yeah.
So I mean, good. Maybe. Once again, our generation, we were right. Like, sorry, y'all. I posted that Jar Jar video, got a bunch of hate on Blue Sky.
Tell your generation we were right.
That's like, look, this is anytime. This is not Force Center, so I could just say this. If you're still a Jar Jar hater in 2025, you're a fucking clown. You are a fucking clown. A clown. I went on a date with somebody, Ken, where not recently. But this was the last time that I was actively in the game, and I was talking to this person. And
did you go to the club?
We did not go down to the club. We were at we were having a cappuccino, I think, and we were and we got to talking about Star Wars, and she took a Jar Jar shot, and I was like, okay, all right, and then but you try to like bring out the argument, but in the least aggressive way possible, and I was just like, well, like. It's a symbiosis metaphor. Like he's got to help her, she's got to help him. They have the two appeal, and I kind of went into this whole thing as casually as I could, and she was just like, "Wow, like I never would have even thought that." And in my head, I was like, "Of course not, of course not, of course you wouldn't have."
Then you ended it. Did you end it right there?
Well, we're not together now. I mean, like we
How soon did the date end? Emotionally, it ended there.
No, because we started to see a movie after that. So we, it was a classic coffee movie.
So let me ask you this question, hypothetically. Yeah. You're sitting across at Canner's Deli from Alana Haim.
Yeah.
And Alana Haim takes a Jar Jar joke. Takes a swipe. What are you doing?
I think that Alana Haim is smart enough that if I told her about the metaphor as an artist, she would just be like, oh, okay, because she, first of all, I don't think that she's like, easily put off by these things. I think that she, she's friends with PTA. She understands metaphor. She understands art. She gets these things. I think that Alana would probably appreciate, the comedy of Jar Jar. That's the thing. That's the thing about Haim is that like as they're in the rollout now for the new album, I Quit out June 20th, I believe. Like I'm promoting it like I get a cut, but is that they don't have the like air of like some of their like contemporaries. Like Taylor Swift puts out an album, it's like a cultural event. Charlie XCX like has the whole persona. Like Haim, they kind of meme their way into releasing their stuff.
Right.
Like they're very comfortable looking stupid and very comfortable with goofiness and things like that. So that's my long answer that I think Alana would be pro Jar Jar.
Yeah, no, that I think you handled it perfectly. And yeah. And like, you're not an asshole about it. I had an old roommate who was an asshole about his love of The Simpsons, and famously was on a date in Cleveland, and a girl said, "What is that? You really like this cartoon?" And he stopped the car and kicked her out of the car.
No,
true story. Yeah.
What's he doing now?
He's been revealed to be a anti-trans alt-right Nazi.
Oh, that's cool.
Shocker.
Well, I caramba. I got on, but it's right. Look, before we close the show, is anybody going to stop Steve from being Pope? Not that I don't want Steve to win.
Steve's our Pope choice.
I
mean, we did get a nomination for Scotty J-Ro, but Scotty is a criminal now. He's an international criminal.
That's true. That's true. Although, you know, we're talking about Scotty J-Ro and his legal troubles over in Asia. It is very possible that the next Pope is an Asian man.
It is. He's one of, and we want him. Tagley or whatever. Yeah, he is one of two real strong progressives inside the Catholic Church to continue maybe what Francis was doing.
Yes. Here's a treat, Mando.
Yeah.
Go lay down.
There you go, Mando.
Anything else from
No,
this
good
week?
stuff. Good hang. Yeah, thanks for all the patience and flexibility with us here to switch. Now, next week, you're traveling, right?
Next week, this time, I will be in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so probably no show, but I am. I'm working the back channels. You and Nikki, if Mr. Kumar, he's going to be your host, right? You guys are going to get the behind the scenes Comedy Store experience.
I'm so excited.
Maybe I can't guarantee this, but maybe see the table on which Robin Williams and Sam Kinison did mounds of coke because it's still there. Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm talking to Mr. Ellis.
I'm going to use psychometry and touch the table and hope that by the time I'm done touching it, I'm funny.
Yeah.
That's
So it's fun. I can't wait for you to go because it's one of my favorite spots to just hang. It's my favorite bar in LA. Great comedy spot. And sometimes there's people there. Like I was there last time I was there. Bill Maher walked in with the two girls collectively half his age after he had just said that Trump stuff. And then me, my buddy Owen and Mark went around the corner and we hung out with Leslie Jones for 20 minutes. Like the Comedy Store is that, and Mr. Ellis is absolutely beloved there, and I can't wait to have you experience them.
Go get some cappuccinos and Coke. You want my little heart to give out, Ken Plume? Ken Plume's trying to kill me before I ever try Fortnite. Ken Plume did DM me and say, hey, what's your username? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. I said after Japan I would play Fortnite.
Hey, come on, they got Darth Jar Jar in, Palpatine. It's gonna be fun.
The trailer for the new expansion, Jerry pointed this out to me, of the new Star Wars stuff is Star Wars material cut to Dua Lipa. How perfect is that?
Come on.
How perfect is that? Come on. I mean, come on.
Come on. Okay.
Dua Lipa. She's Albanian.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, Jerry says, is that true? It is true. It is true. If you're playing right now, you can already see the Death Star in the sky. It's slowly arriving.
Didn't they also announce Tatooine and like Starkiller Base or something like that?
There's like a Rebel base or Resistance base or yeah. It's not doing a full map change. That's just little corners and it's cool. It's cool. I love when they do the Star Wars stuff, and most of the time I play is either Gaga, Wingman, or Padme, because I just love knowing that there's some chuds, and we'll play as Rey too. But sometimes I just love that there's chuds being killed by Gaga or Padme.
I've been really enjoying the immense rage because of all the Sabrina Carpenters that a lot of dude bros are upset that there's so many people that bought that skin.
I'll tell you what, as someone who has been eliminated by Sabrina Carpenter many times in the game, there's a little moment of like, but she's like 4'11". How did that happen?
That's what I was about to say. I was like, I hope she's size accurate. It would be hilarious.
They're not really. There's a certain template to.
Did you ever play Soul Calibur 4?
No.
When they had Vader and Yoda and Starkiller in those?
Yeah.
Yoda was height accurate, and it was a pain in the ass. It was a pain in the ass. Like Odd Job in GoldenEye.
That was, and that's why slappers, man. It was not fair.
Yep.
It's not fair.
Yep.
We did it. So anyways, that's kind of our programming update. Keep with us here. I will keep you all updated on my what I hope is a cool change in jobs, which will allow me to live, but also will necessitate some schedule changes in some of the stuff I do, including forcing another blathering in this show and more. But we will be here. We ain't going away, Alden, except for now. We're going away now. Okay.
Physically, we have to go. Yeah.
Physically. All right. You know what we do here. Bye.